Okay. So now what you have is you have your fiber, your fleece is now hardened with the resin. Okay. All right. And what we want to do is we want to smooth this out. Okay. So I'm going to take this. My air compressor may come on, and it's very loud. So I will hit the pause when it does. But here's what we're going to do. At this time, now we should have a fairly smooth surface to start our fiberglass application. Okay, so now we have this smoothed down. We don't have any, or we have very little frays and sticking up fleece. So now we're going to start our fiberglass application. All right. So I'm going to mix up some resin, and then we'll start. Okay, YouTube. Here we are, episode 3. Now I have you up higher so you can see what I'm actually doing. What I have here is stranded fiberglass batting, and this is 4 feet by 75 feet that I've already used. It's about $42 for the whole roll, so that's not too bad. But this is stranded glass. It's not meshed glass. It's stranded. Now what we're going to do is, first of all, welcome to episode 3, and now we're going to, now we have our fleece on the car, and it is has the resin on it. It's now hardened. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut the fiberglass mesh into strips like this. All right, and then we're going to apply it on top of our fender. Okay, so no brainer. Just going to cut this down. Like that. It helps when you have a sharp knife. However, this knife is all those molasses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut this into small strips. And why I say small strips is because when I take this and I put this up against here, okay, my fiberglass will cover this area as we go along. Okay? So what I usually do is I make several different sizes of the mesh, so in certain spots I can utilize it. Now once again, as always, rubber gloves. Fiberglass is not your friend. It gets everywhere. And again, I should be wearing a mask. I'm not, because if I was, you would just hear a bunch of instead of me talking. Okay? So this is prep work for your fiberglass. When you start doing the fiberglass mesh, you want to make sure that you have enough pieces for you to do one coat. If we're going to do this, we're going to put 3 or 4 coats of fiberglass mesh on top of the fleece. Okay. Now the reason for that is that the more fiberglass we put on it, the less lightweight filler we have to put in, so the less cracking that's going to happen over time from the lightweight filler, because the fiberglass is stronger than that. So if we add a thicker layer of the fiberglass, we can sand it down and it won't make holes and dents in the fender. So I'm going to hit pause and I'm going to cut all this up and then we'll continue once I'm done. Okay, so now you should have something like this. I have different sizes and I also have some loose fibers to fill in some spots if I need to do some small little areas to fill in. Okay, so now I'm going to mix the resin, and again, definitely have gloves. Okay, you should have eye protection on, so I will put these on. All right, and you should. I lost my words here. Mixing cup. Chinese food soup box. And I'm only going to mix 6 ounces at a time, even though we're going to be putting on the resin and the mesh on the fender. I'm only going to do 6 ounces at a time. Okay. So what we do is we just paint this on like this. We take our mesh, we lay our mesh up so it stays there. And you want to dab your brush, your chip brush, you want to push into. Now they do make fiberglass tools, and it's like a roller, it's a metal, but this is for the kid or the guy that goes over to Harbor Freight, grabs a bunch of these brushes, and then has at it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap this just slightly, about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, okay? And I'm going to show you the difference. So this is when I put the resin on the fender first, and then when I didn't with this piece. And see how this one's a little bit darker than this one? It's because the resin penetrated the fiberglass better than this one. Now, you're going to have air bubbles. That's just a given. They come, they happen. That's what we're going to, because of the material, the fleece, that's just what happens. Hey, T.
Hey.
Is that going to be enough for the whole thing?
Should be.
right, and again, we're just going to overlap about 1/8 of an inch. And we're just going to do this all the way around the fender. All right, so now that he's here, he's going to hit pause, and I'll get back to you. But what you're going to do is you're going to just keep doing what I'm doing. Okay, I'm adding the resin on your fiberglass mesh and trying to get as many air bubbles out. Now, unfortunately, we are going to have some air bubbles, but that's okay because we're going to put 4 layers of fiberglass mesh on this, and it's going to be super strong. All right. All right. Let me hit pause, and I'll be back. All right, so 6 ounces has given me the ability to get this far. So 6 ounces of fiberglass resin with the fiberglass, I can get this far on this particular fender. Okay, and again, there are some air bubbles in here. That's okay. That is okay, because each layer that you put on, you're going to sand. Okay, you want to sand it down a little bit so it's smooth again. All right, and what will happen is that you're going to sand a lot of these air bubbles out. So by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th coat, it'll be a smooth surface. Okay, so don't worry about the air bubbles. Just keep pushing on it, and you also, if you need to, because these are 2.5 inches wide, and you're going around a curve, and it doesn't want to sit flat, you can cut it with a pair of scissors also, and then they'll overlap each other as it lays down. All right. So this is how far I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. Okay. It's very simple. You're just going to sit here and paint this on. Paint the fender first, then put the fiberglass down, then paint the fiberglass. Okay. And you want to dab it in so it gets all the air pockets away, or as many as you can. Okay. Just like that. And I'm going to take care of the whole fender, and then we'll come back. All right, so when you're done with your first coat, this took about an hour to do. Just to give you an idea how long it's going to take you to do stuff. Okay, so this took about an hour to do. As you can see, it's very messy, and you're going to make a mess, but that's okay. So I have all of my pieces going this way. Okay, these pieces are going down straight like this. That'll be the first coat. Then the next coat that we're going to do is we're going to go across this way. So we're going to mesh them together. Okay, so this is going to dry now. Now, in a warm environment, right now it's not super warm. Okay, but in a warmer environment, this would take about an hour to cure, and then probably 2 hours before you can actually sand it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to let this sit for a while, okay, and then we'll pick it back up and we'll start the next coat of fiberglass. All right, so this is going to be a short episode 3 video here, because this is going to sit up. All right, and then we have to cut some more fiberglass and make some more pieces. Now what you can do is we can make longer pieces, okay, so they stretch farther, right, instead of the short pieces. So we can make much longer ones, and we can make longer ones to go through here in our wheel well. All right, and same thing with this. We can make longer pieces to fit up in here. Okay, so we'll do that next time. All right, and like everybody else, I got to jump on the bandwagon. If you like what you see, hit the like button, do the subscribe thing, do the whole thing. All right, we'll talk to you. Peace.